Welcome to the Win, Make, Give podcast. Chad Himes here, joined by my friend Bob Stewart. Bob, how are you today?
Chad, I like in some ways feel vindicated because we're wrapping up season 2.
Yes.
And this is approaching our 200th episode. I think there's actually maybe been a couple more than that, but the guy behind the scenes that nobody sees here, Dave Weldon, our friend, you don't hear from him, right? I guess I don't see any of us, but he's been on an amazing run, like 204 episode run of this guy has never once like messed up the production, right? Never once, Chad. Nope. There's never been a time when you started talking and he said, wait a minute, we weren't recording. When we kicked this episode off, it was his first miss. By the way, why I find a little bit of joy in this is because I've messed up like 100 episodes. Chad's messed up probably only like 25. Ben's messed up like 50, right? But finally today, after just a momentous run, our friend Dave had his first unforced error. It was beautiful. He's gonna cut. You know what's the messed up? He's gonna cut this out. This probably isn't even gonna make the podcast.
Yeah, a moment of silence for Dave Weldon streak, if you all would. Perfect. All right, Bob, you just mentioned it. We are coming up on officially episode 200. We did 100 in season 1, and Ben insisted we hit 100 again for season 2. His ADD, he said it's got to be just right or it's going to drive him crazy if we don't hit it again. We are here, and we are going to do a look back on season 2, and we hope that you, audience, are going to remember some of these moments. We hope some of these are going to trigger things that are going to be like, wow, that again, or you're going to say, ooh, I got to go back and listen to that episode one more time, right? Here's the thing. We have these episodes here for you. You can get them at winmakegive.com. You can get them wherever you get podcasts. Go re-listen. And that's what we're going to do, Bob. When season 2 officially ends, we are going to continue to replay some of the best episodes we've had, some of our top series that we've had, some of the fan favorites, some of our favorites. So just because we're not going to be bringing you some new content for a short period of time, because it takes a lot of work to prepare these things, we are going to keep bringing you the content that matters. Yet, Bob, season 2, can you believe it? I was just looking back where we keep track of everything, and this episode, I believe, if my math is correct, will be dropped around February 4th.
Okay.
Episode 1 of season 2 was February 15th.
Nice.
So we've been running a year here almost exactly as we get through all of these episodes for everybody. Bob, it's been a great season. We've been giving. We've been really living up to that give. We've also been focused on the win. Hey, folks, guess what might be coming for season 3, okay? We were able to give money to some charities. We were able to focus on some winners. Bob, give me an episode that jumped out at you that really impacted when we were talking about winning this year.
So, as I look back through all these episodes, there's a lot that kind of jump out to me. There's one particular one that I wish I would have gotten at some point earlier in my career. And I've heard this from Ben or somebody. It was the Win Through Giving episode, Chad, and it was episode 10 of season 2, how to win through giving. And the reason that I loved that episode is because I think there's a lot of us that would like to give, right? We'd like to give more. But most of us, when we think about giving, we just go right to money. Right,
yes.
we think, how can I make a donation, or what can I give to that family or that foundation or that organization, right? And a lot of what we think about is money. But in that Win Through Giving episode, Ben breaks down the different levels of giving, only one of the 5 or 6 of which is money, right?
Correct, yeah.
There's other things where we can give our time and we can give our knowledge. And so I thought that was such a powerful episode. It could really turn every single one of us into somebody capable of giving when maybe not all of us have extra money each month to give to some of the organizations and the causes that we love.
Yeah, that's a great one, Bob. We really focused on winning through giving. I mean, we really hit the 2 big parts of season 2 with that. Let's focus on winning and then let's give back so much. And that episode was a great one where Ben really talked about that to help us create that legacy, right? Because here at Win, Make, Give, it's health, wealth, leadership, and legacy. And that one really leaves us with a legacy. I'm going to tell you a guy we talked to this season leaving a legacy.
Unbelievable.
right?
I mean, really unbelievable.
Now, you're saying unbelievable about the guy, not unbelievable about that amazing segue I just pulled off, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not giving you any kudos here at the end of season 2.
Okay,
you get nothing
that's
from
fair.
me. I will to all the guests, lots of kudos. So
Absolutely.
I was definitely talking about our buddy Chris.
Yeah, I'm going all the way back to episode 5, right?
Yeah.
I'm going really early. It was one of the things that got us started for saying we're focusing on winning when the opportunity came for you and I to interview Chris Nikic, right? I mean, this guy, if you didn't listen to this one, you've got to go listen to episode 5 from season 2.
I mean, look, the coolest part about this for me was, I mean, a matter of weeks after we interviewed him, this guy's on stage at the ESPYs, like winning the Jimmy V Award at the ESPYs. Like, I got goosebumps right now even saying it, but like, what an inspiration.
Yeah, he was. He was the first person to be able to complete Ironman triathlon with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
Right. And what an impact he made, not just on you and me during that interview, what an impact he has made on the world. As you say, he was on every talk show.
Yeah.
Right. He was on, you said the ESPYs just weeks after that, winning the award.
They did a whole thing on it. I mean, I was just like, it was before the ESPYs, but after we'd interviewed him, I'm like laying around on my couch on a Saturday morning, and ESPN had like a documentary on him. Right. I was like, get out of here. That's the guy we just interviewed. Yeah. So
say that again. The guy we just interviewed. That's right. We had him here first, ESPN. Right. Thanks to our friend Dan Grebe for helping make that happen, for bringing Chris in. And what a story he has been.
Seriously, if you didn't listen to that episode, you should, like, I would pause right now. It is so powerful. Like, just what this guy has accomplished, in the face of so many odds. It's really amazing.
His message is 1% better. Just get 1% better than you were yesterday. Just get 1% better. I follow him on Instagram. He's been talking a lot lately about the tortoise and the hare. We all know the story. And he said, be the turtle and stay consistent, getting better and better. Train like the rabbit. Right? He said, just train like the rabbit, yet stay consistent. 1% better every day. Chris, thank you for taking the time to joining us and sharing your message. And folks, go back to episode 5 to hear that one. All right, Bob. He was talent. Would you agree that he was talent?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
okay. Yeah, that's going to lead me to the talent series. Okay. So episodes 35 through episodes 43. We dropped what we referred to as the talent series, where we talked about the introduction to what talent looks like, how to find talent, how to hire talent, the process to follow through all of that, how to launch talent successfully. And boy, Ben gave some great tips during that one. We talked how to coach up talent. We interviewed some fantastic people on what they consider talent and how they help push talent to a next level. We brought some talent on. We brought Holly on there, our unicorn hunter, to talk about it. And then we talked about probably what's most important in all of that, and that's retaining talent. Because what's worse than finding amazing talent and then watching them leave us? And we pulled together, under Ben's tutelage here, the talent series. So if you're looking to hire somebody, wow. Bob, what was your big takeaway from the whole talent series, if you had to?
So I'll give you a takeaway from the actual talent series. I think my takeaway, though, as I'm looking back right now on this, because so the talent series was, what you said was 35 episodes, 35 through 43, and it dropped in July. And I know that Ben is always kind of on the hunt for talent, but not that long after this episode drops, one of the divisions of our company had kind of a pretty major funding event. We're going to go this year, or this in 2022, from 150 to like 600 employees.
Right.
So we are aggressively, like, within 2 months of this talent series dropping, like, our entire organization's aggressively on the hunt for talent. And so as I'm sitting here, like, reflecting on this, I'm like, oh my God, Ben Kinney is using this podcast to, like, educate our team on what he wants us to be thinking about in the future, right? And so,
and you were too. You were pretty blatant about it. You showed up right then saying, I have to hire somebody.
Well, I knew what was around the corner, right? So
give me one takeaway from the talent series, whatever just comes to mind, from finding to hiring to launching to coaching. What do you remember that jumps off the screen?
Here's where I would go back to, like, that screening and interview process, right? Kind of episodes 3 and 4 of the talent series. That idea that just the systematic, really in-depth way that Ben and our organization, and I'm becoming really familiar with this here recently over the last few months, but that the way that we interview, we get looks at people from multiple angles, even down to simple things like taking notes, which forces you to listen a little more. There's just so much value, really packed through all of these episodes, because it is just, we had Ben on all of them, right? With the exception of maybe an interview or two, but it's such a good insight into a guy who I think has we've made bad hires, right? But the vast majority of the hires Ben makes are people that stay around for a long time. Mm-hmm. They become really an integral part of our culture. They fit in really, really well. And we kind of consider each other family around here. And so I just think that it's, like, the whole thing was insightful, but for me particularly, and maybe it's one of these recency bias type things where, because recently I've been doing a lot of interviewing of talent, right? Yep. I'm that one pops out of the screen at me. But what do you think, Chad? You have one of those particular episodes that has some ahas?
I do. The launching talent to me, because all I think about is how many times do we hire somebody and then we just kind of like push them out of the nest and expect them to fly, right? And Ben really gave us some great how do you make them feel like they're really part of that family day one when they come walking in? And then how do you give them some accountability around that to help launch them successfully instead of just leaving them to flounder, which is what so many organizations do. Hi, welcome to the team. Good luck, right? Yeah. And they're off and running. I think that episode, which was 39, I think that one is a powerful, powerful one.
This is ridiculous. Like, I have a lady that just started in my kind of division of the organization on Monday, and it's Wednesday as we record this today. Yep. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, I should probably go listen to that episode and make sure that the things that I've been doing with the last couple of days from her are kind of in line with our philosophies, right? So,
and Bob, you say that, and I love that you say that, because we even go back and listen to these episodes all the time, because we know we're sitting there, and while we're talking half the time, we're also still learning from each other and from Ben during the conversations. And folks, these episodes are here for you to go back to listen to as needed. So when you hire somebody, jump back and say, what do I do to launch them? If you just launch somebody, what do I need to do to retain somebody who's been with me a while? Yeah. Bob, I got a question for you, though. You mentioned in there that around the organization here, everybody kind of feels like family. And I got to think you're kind of the big brother role. Would that feel like the right role for you?
Yeah. I mean, look, as I walk through the halls, I come up, so I work. I'm not in our office, Chad, but we do our podcast recording in the same building here that our company's offices are in. And so every time I come up here to record the podcast stuff, I go out and I meet new employees, and what they'll say to me, because my voice and face is on a lot of the stuff that we do around our company, they'll say, oh, no, like, I've been listening to you all the time. Like, I feel like I know you already. So yeah, maybe there's like that, that big brother that's off at college that you don't really know, but you kind of, you've heard the stories, and his pictures are hanging in mom's hallways or whatever.
If you're the big brother, I'm thinking that makes me kind of the really weird uncle who just shows up at the holiday once a year.
Yeah, and we hope that he's not going to say something inappropriate. Absolutely.
Yeah, there you go, right? That's why they lock me in the podcast studio and don't let me out to see everybody else. So everybody else on the team, hi, I'm locked in here. Come get me. Bob, season 2, what else comes to mind? What else do you remember from season 2? I know we could go for hours.
Well, Chad, listen, I'm starting to get actually a little bit tired. It's been a while since it's been 2 weeks since I've been on vacation.
Oh my gosh, you haven't been on vacation.
I'm on the verge of a burnout, right? And so what episode was the burnout? I didn't. 62.
62.
So
there you go.
If you're like me, perpetually on the edge of a burnout, right? I mean, I've got some excuses, by the way. I got a 4 and a 5-year-old. Like, is anybody out there like trying to keep up with a 4 and a 5-year-old at 44 years old? Like, this is.
I'm sure someone is.
This is insane. Like, if you are listening to this and you are doing this right now, I just have so much like connection to you. So I get burned out, man. I got to go on vacations. But in episode 62, we talk about burnout, how to spot it.
Yep.
How to kind of be on the lookout for it, and then things you can do to avoid it. One of which, by the way, Chad, is take a vacation, but most of it is not take a vacation, right? It's things that
that's
we can
just
do.
Your go-to.
Yeah, it's things we can do inside of kind of our daily routines to minimize the
Bob,
potential.
where is it you went on your most recent vacation?
Chad, look, once, Disneyland, you know where.
Of course.
I went to Disneyland. I took the boys. I got a parting gift. I got COVID as a parting gift. But in episodes 29 and 30 this year, we did talk about our friend, Mr. Walt Disney. So episode 29, we talked about Disney. Why? Because we freaking love Disney around here.
Sure.
Okay.
And he was kind of brilliant and ahead of his time.
Yeah. Yeah. He had a grand vision and he laid it out. And then he just like kind of built to that vision. Like, look, it's crazy to like call somebody like the next Walt, but like Ben is building this vision. Like, you know, Chad, you've been in his house. Dave, you've been in his house. He's got this whiteboard that's been sitting in his house for a number of years now. And the big drawing on the back, it's because he kind of turns it, like if you just walk through his house, it's always like kind of that side of it's facing towards a wall or something. But if you look around the back of the whiteboard, that vision of Ben's world and what he's building and gonna build. And, you know, he started this thing 3 or 4 years ago, and lots of the things on that board are reality in real life now, right? And so Disney was one of those guys that just had a massive vision and then just figured out how to go build it.
I remember being in Ben's house 12 years ago now. It was a smaller whiteboard.
Yeah.
Yet he had one then too of what the vision was at that time where it was growing.
And this thing's changed, right? The vision's changed.
Absolutely.
Like Walt Disney's vision changed over time. Like I don't imagine the very beginning, he had Disney World on the map, for example, right? His first drawing probably had Disneyland. But your vision grows and changes. And as your thinking gets bigger, your vision gets bigger.
All right. And then in episode 30, we actually went a step farther and we talked even about the bugs at Disney World and why you don't see them.
Yeah, we called that episode Eliminating the Bugs. But the idea was like there are things in your business that you should be thinking about how to completely get rid of, right? And kind of the story that we showcased that against was how Disney, when they did Disney World, right? The kind of extension of the vision. How did they deal with all the bugs
in the middle of a
building
swamp?
In a swamp?
Right, yeah.
And it's a fascinating story, kind of this engineer guy and how Disney met that guy and what they've done. And you know, it's funny. I can't go to Disneyland anymore without like watching the water at Disney. Right? It's in that episode we talk about how it's always moving. So like, basically all 3 days I was at Disneyland here recently, I'm like trying to spot all the water and looking at the roof lines, and like it actually gave me, because I hadn't been to Disney for a while, right? Because of the COVID stuff. And so like doing those couple episodes and then going back there, it actually gave me a little bit of a new kind of view of the streets and the design and a lot of the stuff that we talked about in that episode.
That's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome when you think about it like that. Bob, I remember one episode that stuck out to me. It's episode 51. We called it The Hard Truths of Business. Ben basically called it the shit they never taught you in college.
Yeah.
Right? That's how he liked to refer to it. And we had a list of 13 things that was that list of the things, the hard truths of business. And they covered everything like not everyone is going to like you, to your feelings don't matter, and all the way to you're going to have to fire people. Right. And there were some amazing things that, boy, I didn't go to college for long, yet I went to college for a little bit and I took some business classes. I don't remember learning any of these things in class. No one talked to you about you're going to have to fire people along the way.
No, I did go to 4 years of college, Eastern Washington University, and never once did they tell me, like, Chad, I've had to do this. Firing people's the worst thing ever.
Sure.
Like of all the things on this list, that one to me is like light years ahead. And nobody ever, not once, was there a class? Was there any guidance? Was there any counseling on how to do this? Any training? Nothing, right? And you don't learn this stuff out in corporate world really either, but they definitely don't teach it to you in college.
Yeah, it was great hearing from Ben, and then you and I got into the conversation with him, of course, but hearing these 13 hard truths. I'm not going to run through all of them with you now, everybody. I'm going to just say, put some time on your calendar, bookmark episode 51 from season 2, go back there and learn about some of the things that we did talk about. What's the one, Bob? I'm going to put you on the spot, see how good your memory even is after all this time. What's the one other than firing you that really stuck with you from that list?
Look, there's I would say it's like a 1 and a 1A, because for me, these almost go hand in hand, but not everyone is going to like you.
Yep.
Like, I'm a people pleaser. I like people. I want people to like me. Like, so that's a big one for me.
Sure.
And has really been hard for me over the year, right? Like, Chad, back in our active rain day, there were a lot of people that didn't like me for whatever reason. I had to, and that like I took that home at night a lot.
That's one I never had a problem with, Bob. I know there are a lot of people who aren't going to like me. That's your choice.
Okay, I'm okay today. All these years later, I'm okay with it. I still struggle. I'm still like, oh, that guy doesn't like me, but it's whatever.
Dave, you like him, right? No answer from Dave. We'll just keep going.
Wow, he actually hid his face from us. That was weird.
What was that 1A, Bob?
People are going to disappoint you. Because I think that just kind of goes like hand in hand, right? Like, wow, does he like me? Does he disappoint me? I don't know. People are going to disappoint you. Although I always tell my wife that like it's not like your sister didn't disappoint. Not that that's a bad example. I don't think my wife's sister listens to this, my sister-in-law, but I'll say things like, hey,
that employee,
that coworker, right?
Yeah,
that coworker didn't disappoint your expectations of that coworker is actually what disappointed you, huh?
Yes. I've quoted Ben on that so many times since then that it's not someone disappoints us, it's our expectations of that person disappoints us.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the hard truths of business in that particular episode, we talk about how you kind of mitigate these things, right? And you still kind of do business even though these things are present there, right? Like you owning every failure, like that stinks that you got to be the guy that steps up and owns every failure, but like how do you mitigate that? And that's kind of what the discussion is about, how you kind of, go on when you realize, not everybody's going to like me.
Bob, we had another series earlier in season 2. We did the Traits of a Winner series.
We did.
Okay, this was episodes 17 through 27. What I really loved about it was we talked about the 6 traits of a winner, and then we went out and we interviewed somebody that showed, displayed, lived, learned from those traits that we were able to share. And wow, we met some great people during that. We got some great interviews during that. And we had some great things. So let me run everybody through the 6 traits of a winner, and then I'll just ask your tip. We had practice.
Practice?
Seek knowledge.
Dave's chuckling because he knows I'm legally required to say that way every time anybody says practice.
Every time now, yes. And if you don't understand that, folks, it goes back a few years in the world of sports.
Yeah, it's a Jim Mora reference. He used to coach the Colts. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Allen Iverson.
Allen Iverson.
Playoffs. I'm thinking playoffs.
Yes.
Playoffs.
All right, there you go. All right, so we've got practice. We've got seek knowledge. We've got patiently impatient. I actually got to ask somebody just the other day, what does it mean to be patiently impatient? Okay. Accept responsibility, purposefully use your time, and seek mastery. Bob, of those 6, I'm not going to ask you to dive into them again because everyone can go back and listen to episodes 17 through 27. Yet, Bob, what was your takeaway from the Traits of a Winner series?
So, that's a good question.
I mean, I got to interview an astronaut.
You did.
That was pretty awesome.
You did. That was cool. Chad, to me, that patiently impatient concept is hard sometimes. It's like that was a discussion that I needed, right? I want to go. And sometimes like the idea of slowing down and waiting for people to catch up or waiting to get that right hire made or waiting, like you just want to go, right? And it was interesting to, the interview with the Army Ranger and to kind of get that, to hear it from somebody that they are, they're impatient, they're training, they're making sure that they're totally ready. And then there's that time that they can kind of strike is, it's so much more refined and they're so much better when they do it because of all that patience and the training that they've put into it. So I don't know, there was a lot of good content in there. The interviews to me were particularly fascinating. I love the one, the firefighter guy that we interviewed was great. The gal that was
Nicole,
the Paralympic, Nicole Millage. So there was,
we had some great interviews there. The thing I remember was the thing you brought to us, Bob, actually in practicing, because you found a study that talked about free throws. And I've shared this with a lot of people since then. And you had 3 different groups in the study, if I remember correctly. And they all came in and they made free throws one day. And then group A was told, don't do anything. Yep. Just come back in a month. We want to see how much better you are or worse you are. Group B was told to practice for like 15 minutes every day. And group C was told to mentally practice, visualize it for 15 minutes every day. And when they came back in a month, group A, no change. They were the exact same as group B improved, and I don't remember the percentage, and group C improved the exact same
by about the same percentage as the people that who
actually did it. And the power of just visualization, how important that is, folks. We want you to remember it. It was a series worth listening to.
It almost makes me like this is one of those things where, like, as I think back, I was a basketball player in high school, right? And like I think about how much time I put in actually playing and probably how very little time I put in visualizing, right?
Yep.
And like, that's insane. And to know then later, all these years later, that had I just been laying in bed, like thinking about making a free throw, right? I might have actually been a better basketball player. That's crazy. To me, that's insane.
Bob, I know we did an interview with somebody that blew us both away. You really, really, really loved this guy.
Yeah, John Hiltz.
There you go. Episode 60, not just Commander John Hiltz,
yeah,
right?
He leads the West Coast division of the recruiting for the Navy.
Yep.
Right.
And we found him through John Hurlburt because what made him so unique? John Hiltz?
Oh, he was the pilot for the Blue Angels.
That's friggin' cool having him in here.
Yeah, we got these signed posters from him, right? So I got my John Hiltz number. He was the number 2, so he flew that second plane in the formation. It's just one of the reasons that I enjoyed the interview, and maybe I'm fascinated by just normal people that do like really cool shit, right? Like to become a Navy pilot and then become, a Navy. A Blue Angel, and now this guy's like a commander and is in charge of recruiting for the Navy. It's just cool. Like to me, that's just, and he was just a small town guy from Kentucky, right? And he ended up playing basketball at Notre Dame and going on. And by the way, like I think my Blue Angel chances are behind me.
Yes,
but what we learned, maybe the most fascinating thing out of that episode, is you could be 6'4" and be a Blue Angel pilot, because John Hiltz was a big dude.
He really was.
He came in the studio with us, which is not normal for our interviews, right?
No.
But yeah, big tall guy. And the first thing I said to him was, "You're a pilot? Like, get out of here." I thought pilots had to be short, but that was a total. It's not true. That's like an old wives' tale.
Yeah, he was fantastic. The ideas and the lessons that he shared with us, folks. Jump back to episode 60.
You know what's funny? Listen to this, Chad. This is crazy. So my mom ran a company called TNA Supply for years after she ran a company called Eagle Hardware. The owners, textiles and adhesives, by the way, for all you snickering out there at the name TNA Supply, but they did flooring. The owners, I became really good friends with, a guy's named Mark and Owen. John Hiltz is married to their daughter.
That's right. I think I remember you brought that up on the episode, or maybe after we recorded.
Yeah. So I'd reached out to him and we kind of shared that, but I didn't know that while he was sitting here. I could have talked to that guy for hours about his father-in-law, who I know really, really well.
Yeah, so it's a small world out there, folks. You never know who you might be connected to that we want to be connected to. So keep that in mind for season 3 if there's someone we should be interviewing, because they have a heck of a story. Bob, we learned some amazing things this year. We learned about, well, maybe we didn't actually learn about the difference between being thankful and being grateful, but in episode 81, we attempted to figure that out.
We sure tried.
And we didn't necessarily learn about pet peeves, yet, boy, we had a great time in episode 73.
Episode was that? 73.
Laughing about some of yours, some of mine, and some of the lessons we could learn from some pet peeves.
You know what's funny?
Had some fun, too.
Of all the episodes, which this is, I don't know, maybe in some ways, like, I'm irritated by this, right? Because we've been sharing all this really, I think, really good content and the Wealth series and all these things. Though maybe with the Wealth series aside, because the Wealth series, we got a lot of response, a lot of people reaching out, a lot of people saying things.
That's back in season 1, folks. You can go right to winmakegive.com/wealth or scroll back and you'll find those episodes.
The Wealth series is amazing. But that pet peeve, I got more people reaching out to me on that pet peeve episode than any other episode, right? Wanting to share theirs or say, yeah, no, totally, I hate when people do that too. And so there was like a big kind of, a lot of people enjoyed that episode, if nothing else. Right?
They sure did. We found a lot of things. We got to interview a lot of people. We got to have some great laughs, some great learning, some great moments that we shared in there. Ben, right near the end of the season here in episode 86, talked about SIP, right? Solve important problems. And we had a great conversation on that.
Here, let's do this. I want to do this. If you don't mind, I'm just like coming up with this off the cuff. So I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
This year, this season, for every interview that we did, we asked the guest what charity we could make a donation in their name to.
Correct.
So I'm going to give away some of Ben's money. This is totally unauthorized. Nobody said this was okay. Chad, why don't you pick a charity and we can make a donation in your name, and then I'll pick a charity and we can make a donation to a charity in my name, just to kind of wrap up and put a bow on the season where we did a lot of giving, right? All these folks that we interviewed, Commander Hiltz, Chris Nikic, all these different folks, the people that we had for some of the different series, they all got to pick a charity. So why don't you pick one? I'll pick one. Let's have Dave pick one too. And we'll make a small donation in our names or Ben's name to those couple of charities.
All right, so Dave, you're either going to have to write it down or actually jump on a mic or just yell it at me and cut yourself out in the background. Tell me what yours is going to be. Bob, I'm going to go back. You gave me the opportunity earlier in the season to do this when you brought me on as a guest for the book.
All right, you don't get jacked then. Well, who did you pick back then?
I picked the First Chance Foundation.
Okay.
And I want to tell you something about the First Chance Foundation. For those who don't know, the Win, Make, Give podcast birthed the Win, Make, Give podcast network. So we're not the only podcast that we have. We have the 15-point plan where Jolene and I get the pleasure of talking about health, energy, and happiness. And one of the other people who's already joined the network, and we're still growing, yet one of the other people who joined the network was Clint Swindoll with Tell Me Something Good. A mentor of mine, a friend of mine, a fantastic podcast. I listen to it every week on my way in for us to record to see what he's been saying. It's him and his wife, Heather, who started and built First Chance Foundation. So it's always been my go-to charity when I can give back to somebody. It's going to be them.
Awesome.
Bob, let me put you on the spot then. And you threw this at us. What is it?
So mine is the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And, you know, when I was about 9 years old, my cousin passed away from muscular dystrophy, Duchenne muscular dystrophy. And he got a chance about 6 months before he passed away to do the Make-A-Wish Foundation granted his wish, and his wish was to go to a Seahawks game. And so I got to go with him as a young child. We got down on the sidelines for a Seahawks Broncos game. I got to meet John Elway, who came off the field. Dave, you'll appreciate this. After the game, the Seahawks beat the Broncos. And back in those days, the Seahawks we didn't win that often, right? This would have been like 1984, 5 to 84. So we beat the Broncos by like 20. Elway comes off after the game, and we hated, like as Seattle fans in those years, we hated John Elway, right? They wore T-shirts that had his buck teeth and all this. People hated John Elway, but he was super amazing. Like, it almost gets me a little choked up. He came off. He gave my cousin a game ball. He gave him his wristbands from the game. And from that day on, I love John Elway. To this day, I think he's an amazing dude. And so anyway, the Make-A-Wish Foundation is mine. I know it meant a lot for me. I know it meant a massive amount for my cousin to have that kind of wish granted. So Make-A-Wish Foundation for me.
All right, Dave, we're going to put you on the spot. We don't hear from Dave often, and this is either going to be Dave yelling at me, writing it down, or actually inserting his voice here. Dave, what charity are we going to put down for you to give to this season? The Jordan Morris Foundation. I don't know much about it. I'm going to have Dave tell me a little bit more after the episode. Bob's Googling like crazy while I stall for a second, so Bob could give us a little bit of information about this. I could make some guesses about it, yet I don't want to. Can I safely make guesses that it's probably got something to do with juvenile diabetes or something like that? Because I know Dave's son is battling through that. I've got to imagine it's some organization that helps with that. Dave's nodding at me in a positive way.
Jordan Morris. So he's a soccer player for the Seattle professional soccer team here, right? The Sounders, and he was raised with juvenile diabetes, and he's got a foundation to help kids that are going through that stuff. So awesome.
We appreciate that one, Dave, for all the work you do. We'll be happy to put that on the list. To you, our audience, our loyal fans, heck, someone who just found this episode as your first, we're going to challenge you. If you've been listening, you heard the first episode Bob mentioned from season 2 that stood out to him was Win Through Giving. How are we wrapping this episode up? We're talking about giving to some of our choices of charities. We're going to challenge you. Go make a donation. Go make a donation right now. Get off this. Open the website of whatever organization it is you love.
Doesn't have to be money either, Chad, right? I mean, you can reach out to one of these organizations and find out how they need some help, when they need when they need some volunteers, or it doesn't have to be money. So I would challenge you to get out and just get involved in something.
Listen to episode 10. You'll know the 5 levels of giving, because 4 of them are not about money. Folks, we have loved season 2 with you, focused on winning and giving. Season 3, you're just going to have to stay tuned and see what we're going to talk about. It'll be a few short weeks before we're back with new live episodes. Until then, we are always at facebook.com/groups/win-make-give, where we can continue the conversation. And we hope you enjoy the upcoming replay episodes And until we speak again, as always, do good.